I tell you, man, I'm trying to come up with some sort of topic of conversation for like a cold open or a bonus, and I don't fucking have it in me today.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I
got
just don't. I keep thinking, like, what should we talk about? Oh, I don't care. I'm tired. I'm sick of the weather changing up and down.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I don't want to go back to work tomorrow. Like, and I like my job, and I don't want to go back to work tomorrow. I just, blah, blah. Maybe
I
this will be
feel
the
it.
opening. He's just complaining about the
I
opening.
did get a disc plate over here. That was a very interesting
Which disc plate?
situation. Right here, the metal one back behind
Oh,
me.
I see it.
It's not appropriately hung. It's an Expedition 33 one. It looks like a
Oh.
recruitment poster for Expedition 33.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So I learned a lot of things about disc plate by placing that order. So there's a guy at work who's obsessed with them.
Okay.
And he will put an order in, and when he does, he'll ask everybody if they want to jump in on it, because they're not cheap.
Right.
Well, this time around, I was like, you know what? I think I will jump in on it. And I was looking at them, and they have different sizes and different styles and everything like that. And it's one of those things: the more of them you buy, the cheaper they get. So I'm looking and I see this, but I wanted the larger size. So I paid for the next step up. Now, I knew it was going to be expensive right out of the gate. And I was looking at everything, and it's like $70 for it with the multi discount, which that's kind of what I was expecting to pay for it. So I was like, okay, cool. And then because like we had like 5 people get in on this order and we all like broke everything down. So then it was like, okay, everybody's part for shipping. And I was like, okay, cool. After my shipping, it was $110. So I'm like, what? So come find out, learn some things about Displate. Displate is in Poland. Didn't know that. So shipping and tariffs and all that fantasticness hit me on that. And it's too bad too, because the next set that I want to get, it's 3 of the smaller ones.
Okay.
But they have them for tons of stuff. And I want to get them for the Back to the Future movies. They have 3 of them like that.
That'd be cool.
It's the front of the movie, but without like the text.
Nice.
And those would be perfect. I would love to have those. But I would probably have to spend like $150 to get them, apparently. So,
dude, I thought for a second there you were going to save us from going full negative, but I think we're going to end up going full negative now.
yeah.
If this is the opening, I was like, oh yeah, we'll talk about this nice thing you got, and then we went into price. I'm like, no,
it's nice. No, it's very
nice.
It's
full negative today.
It's very nice. It's not actually even mounted on the wall yet because it's like a permanent mount situation, and they magnetically snap on. So you like put like it's adhesive that you put on there. And then it just magnetically snaps onto it, so you can change them out at any point in time that you want. But yeah, I can't even mount it yet. It's just hanging out back there. But I really like
cool.
it.
It's very
really
cool.
like it. It is cool.
Very cool. It's very cool. All right, let's get into let's get into talking point as we go full Neggy. Going in 3, 2, 1.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zach Wright with Old Man Gaming. You dear listeners, for whatever reason, I've decided to listen to another horrible gaming podcast. With me, because I am usually not alone, is
Neil, aka Tiny Wizard.
So yeah, we did a really fun show last week, so we're probably is keeping with apparently the world's mission statement. This one's gonna suck.
Yay!
We're gonna be talking about the highs and lows of Microsoft this last week, which Man, there's
a
been
lot.
a lot. There's been a lot. Or like the last week and a half. I don't know when it officially
Yeah, a
started.
week and a half.
But we're going to be talking about that. So yeah, strap in for some whining, for some old man whining.
Yeah.
But before we get to that whining, we've got to thank the people who make this whining possible. Behind our ugly mugs is a custom graphic that is provided by Mr. Mark Bell. We thank him for that. And then, of course, the theme song for this show and all of the shows here at Old Man Gaming is provided by the man who makes music, my brother Nick Van Siders. We thank him for that. We'll be right back with fan traction, a short one because we only got one comment this week.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our first segment, our most important segment, that's Fan Traction. That's where we, the co-hosts, we read out your comments, we talk about them, we riff about them, all that fun stuff. We only got one this week, although I will say that my opening about not knowing anything about memes did get a little spammy memes from Jason on the Discord. So that was fun for me to see. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. And on the meme subject, I did send you guys the GIF I talked about too. I don't know if you noticed that on the happy anniversary post. You guys had an anniversary post. I think it was Kayla's post actually on Facebook, and I posted the one GIF that I had talked about, which was the slow nod from Jeremiah Johnson.
I'm gonna have to take a look. While you're doing that, I'm looking.
Let's go ahead and get into this. William Hohen, hi! Exclamation point. My forever games. That's a good question, really. Scourgebringer, for sure. Can't get enough of it. Then probably Resident Evil 4. I've been playing this game so many times over the years. Can't imagine not playing it anymore. I would add Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Love the randomizer mode so much. Thanks for the show. # long days and pleasant nights. Thank you, William. I appreciate that. I was hoping we get some more people commenting the Forever Games, but yeah, Scourgebringer's a good game. I couldn't stick to it, but it's a good game. I enjoyed my time with it. I don't like any of the Resident Evils. I just don't, man. I could never get into them. And Bloodstained, I don't know. I couldn't do Bloodstained either. And I really wanted to like Bloodstained because I've played through Castlevania Symphony of the Night probably like 4 or 5 times. And there's just something about Bloodstained that like put me off to it. And I don't know what it was, but I just couldn't stick with it. Nonetheless, thank you for telling us your forever games. I really appreciate that, man. And contributing to the show.
So first off, I just saw the meme. I know that one.
That's my favorite one.
But yeah, when it comes to like Resident Evil, definitely not a play game for me. It's a watch game for me because I 100% will watch somebody play those games. But not physically play them myself. Scourgebringer, funny enough, has been on my Steam wish list since William even started talking about it, because it did sound like it's been up my alley.
It is.
So I've been slowly collecting my back catalog through Steam, not playing them, of course, but collecting them.
Yeah, you'd like it. I think you'd really enjoy Scourgebringer. I didn't hate it. It's just not something that I would stick with for a really long time. I think that as far as Resident Evils, I'm with you completely on the watching. You guys all know I've talked about them a ton. Game Grumps is probably my favorite show, and they play through all the Resident Evils. And every time a new Resident Evil comes out, I know that like in like 6 to 8 months they're gonna start playing through one again, and their playthroughs of Resident Evils are some of my favorite of their playthroughs. So I get it, and the games themselves don't do that much for me, but yeah, like they made fun of there's this bad guy in the Village game, Resident Evil Village. Yeah. And it was Heidegger.
Yeah.
I
That
wish
was
I
his
could remember,
name.
but he's like, oh, yeah, like that.
Yeah.
And they just would not stop doing the voice, and they still do it in other videos, and it just makes me laugh so hard. Okay, that's it for fan interaction. That's it. It's a nice easy one, so we might have a short show today, which I'm all right with. I'm tired. I'm tired. My back hurts. But we are going to whine quite a bit coming up. Oh, not whine, but raise anger. Because our topic tonight is Xbox and all of the insanity that has been going on over there with how they do stuff. So we're going to get into it. We'll be right back with that.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our talking point. So, Xbox, Microsoft, gaming space. Pure, unadulterated madness. I think we're going to go into each little section of this, but if I could give the bullet points, and Neil, please stop me if I miss one. They lowered the price of Game Pass, only to then lay off like 15,000 workers or something like that, 1,500, I don't know, something, a lot of workers.
Yes, it was something like that. It's not officially happened, but it's coming.
And then they announced, the Project Helix is coming, but they're going to apparently block Steam from this basically PC forward console generation. Did I miss anything on all this madness?
So not really. No. I will say, like, as a quick interjection into that, that the Project Helix thing, blocking Steam, it is being alluded to. It's not been officially confirmed, but it is being alluded to. And they also are basically, I read another article earlier today that I didn't even mention anything to you about because this happened in the last 2 hours. I saw that there's talk that the Project Helix is going to cost about $1,200, but will have the performance of a $2,000 PC. So for what's that's worth, who knows?
I mean, which part of this do you want to talk about first? I guess is what I should
Let's
ask.
at least talk about the good-ish part of everything, with the bringing down the cost of Game Pass Ultimate. They had to do this. We all have said that they had to do this, and there's been like not a real crazy precedent for anything like this. On Next Gen Console Watch, they pointed out like 2 separate times that the cost of streaming services went down, but they were like on all technicalities and stuff like that, so it wasn't even the dropping of the price. But it's one of those things where it's almost like a negotiation tactic where you start super high and come back down lower, but not to where the other person wants. Higher than what they want, but lower than what you started with, so you still get more in the end. Yeah. So it was $20. They made it $30. They brought it back down to $23, right. And they will be shaving out Call of Duty day and date now to help to offset that, which truthfully... that's its own separate thing because I don't think Call of Duty is really the juggernaut that it used to be, and I don't think they're going to be making up enough money from that, but that's its own separate side thing. And then, of course, PC Game Pass as well also took a slight price drop. It's down to $13, I think it was $13 or $14 from $16 or $17. But it does not have the shenaniganery of all of the other various tiers like they do on console for Game Pass. It's still day and date stuff, but Call of Duty will not be there. There are some other rumblings around there of a build your own Game Pass to where you can like include the other like certain specific like companies with it, or if you were to like maybe have a tier that's purely just like first party Microsoft products, so not anything that's like from a third party or an indie or anything like that, just Microsoft games themselves. I mean, I like this idea. It's a step in the right direction. The price thing kind of rubs me a little bit of a wrong way just because it's not back to where it was before. Yes, it had to get a price increase at some point, but not so soon after the previous price increase that put it to the $20 to begin with, fairly enough. But overall, it gave me some positive feels, but I'm still not seeing the value like it was before.
I think you did that very well. I echo a lot of those thoughts. I will add to them. Firstly, I think that's where we're going with the segmented thing. I think eventually we're going to get Game Pass is just going to be segments and you buy the thing you want. This is a problem, though, because all of those segments are going to cost basically what Game Pass was in the first place. So adding those segments together, you're going to end up paying more than you would have
Able to
beforehand.
streaming. Same thing.
That what they're going to do is they're going to dress it up as a price cut. But what'll end up happening is if you add up what it costs to get the stuff that you had originally, it'll be like twice as much. But and their answer would be like, well, you don't have to buy this. You don't have to buy this. You know. At the same time, like, I understand. I would like that as a service. I don't need, I don't need the game streaming. I don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need a lot of the extra perk shit that comes with it. I don't always need the first party stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that they could add and take off there, which would cause, I don't know. But again, I think it's a dress up. I think it's like, we're going to make it super segmented so it's super cheap for you guys. But if you get all the features that you had before, you're going to end up paying double. The other thing is, yes, these costs came down, and actually PC Game Pass is back to the last place it was when I was paying for it, I think. Like the last time I was like, because when they raised it to 17, I was like, fuck, I'm out. That's when I was out. My kid's still on Game Pass, though, and they have made it nearly impossible to get the Game Pass stuff with points now. So we pay for that. So that's nice. Again, I think we're hurtling towards this segmented future where they're going to nickel and dime us to death. Basically, it's going to be the lobster in the hot water doesn't know he's boiling to death. That's what they're going for with this. Yes. And I think it's just more predatory stuff, just dressed up as niceness. The other thing I really don't like about this is I feel like this layoff, this whole layoff was, for them, justified because of this price cut, which is bullshit. I still think that Game Pass is a huge moneymaker for them. I think it well justifies the cost of coming to the table. And it certainly justifies, this is Microsoft we're talking about. They're not short on money. They're just not. They're the third richest company on the fucking planet. They don't need to lay people off. And every time they lay people off and be like, we're just not getting the sales we want. Like, you're laying people off because you are trying to get bonuses. Like, there's no other reason for that. And I feel like this price cut was directly like, this will make it okay for us. We can use this price cut to justify these layoffs. Does that make sense? I feel like this
100%, yes.
I feel like this was proactive, like proactive PR. Is all it was. Like, I feel like they were like, we need to lay off some people so we can get more money. And how we do that with people not get mad? Oh, let's lower the price.
Yeah. So to just kind of transition a little bit over to that part of it. So the article that I had sent over to you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to force us that way. I just.
Oh no! I feel like that's fine. No, because we got honestly, I feel like we have a decent amount of stuff to cover with all of this.
Yeah.
So it was from gamingbolt.com, but it's Microsoft is set to announce these layoffs affecting 15% of its gaming division. 15%. So according to this, it was like a leaked memo, and depending on the date of like the format of the date used, it's either going to be May 6th or June 5th. personally, I think that it would be May 6th and not June 5th because you're in the prime, summer Keeley Fuckfest season. They don't want that to be the talking point of everything. They want this to be done and out of the way.
Yeah.
And then they're going to announce the games. I think this is coming basically next week, effectively. But yeah, apparently Microsoft is already on a hiring freeze and everything like that too. So I don't know. Yeah, this whole layoffs on layoffs on layoffs on layoffs. Yeah, they're using that to justify all of that because we can't just have a product available that makes money. Like in my mind, I'm thinking about what we were talking about, like with an a la carte Game Pass situation. And I'm thinking, well, all I really super care about on Game Pass is those Microsoft exclusives, if there are any. Don't get me wrong. One of my favorite games that I've ever played, Clair Obscur, was on Game Pass. The whole reason I ever played that game in the first place was because it was on Game Pass. Now I own a copy, so I don't need it. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things to where I go to Microsoft for those exclusives. If I have something third party now, it's my PC. I'm slowly turning into a primary PC individual, which we can use that talk to kind of segue into the next part of it for the console too. But yeah, when it comes to that, like I would 100% pay like $10 a month for Microsoft exclusive games.
You know what's weird is I would go the other way. One of the things that I feel like this channel has suffered from me not having Game Pass anymore is the reviews. Because with Game Pass, I would just like, there's a game on Game Pass that wasn't there before. I'll download it. I'll give it a try. I tried a lot more games with Game Pass to get the use out of it than I would have normally. And if I felt like I wasn't getting enough review content, I would just be like, pick a game off Game Pass and review it. I can't do that anymore. I would almost pay for the third party instead of the first party because I'm going to tell you right now, the first party Xbox games have been fucking atrocious. And what bothers me the most about them is with the exception of like Forza 6 looks pretty good. Well, Forza Horizon 6 looks pretty good. But aside from that, it almost feel like they bought up all these companies to dissect them for pieces and parts. And I think that's the situation we're in right now. I think that's where these layoffs are coming in. They are cherry picking their employees. They're going to close studios down and they're going to get it streamlined to be like 3 or 4 studios with all those IPs though, because those IPs are under the bracket of the company. And this is a real problem because what Microsoft has done should be criminal. Like when you really look at what they've done, they went on a crazy and some of the blame definitely lies on the companies that get bought up. Like they saw dollar signs and they were like, this is a great idea. And they didn't see down the road what could happen. But Obsidian's definitely in danger of it after Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed not doing so great. You got Obsidian, you got a bunch of other ones, and they're all being like pulled apart now and just folded into Microsoft. But here's the thing, all the IPs for Obsidian, all the IPs for all those other companies that I cannot remember the name of any of them for some reason right now, they still exist under the bracket of Microsoft. Like, that's what Microsoft always wanted. They wanted the IPs, not the personnel. And now the personnel are being kicked to the curb.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before too with the Bethesda purchase and the Activision Blizzard purchase. They came out and said, well, we're not going to lay people off. Right. We're going to, this, that, and the third. And the second that everything went through, which, let's be honest, I think all of us kind of expected this, some sort of layoff to happen. But I was thinking it was going to be one big one after it's all said and done, not repeated waves. Now, let's be real too, things have not necessarily necessarily been great over at Microsoft lately. A new head of the Xbox gaming division has taken over now, so she is going in and making changes, and this stuff happens when that happens. That is just how business operates.
Yeah.
However, these things it's funny because we were talking about the Game Pass price cut, and then I sent you the article about this, and it was yin and yang. And it really is. For every good thing that Microsoft tries to do, a bad thing ends up happening. Because at the same time, we're over here talking about this new console. This new console that they're going to have coming out, the article that I had seen earlier was, okay, well, $1,200 is probably going to be the price point. However, it's going to have the processing power of a $2,000 to $3,000 PC. Okay. Now, is that on technicality because everything costs so much right now? Is it a $2,000 to $3,000 PC as of 5 years ago and not now? Because you know how they like to do this messaging stuff. And at the same time, in the same breath, there's also the illusions too of, well, before it's going to be a hybrid PC Xbox console that you can run Steam on. Well, let's pump the brakes on that because we don't want our stuff we don't want to have the hardware sale, which more often than not, hardware sales are always at a loss, and it's made up with the digital games or physical games even revenue. Okay. Well, let's say somebody's still going to buy something Microsoft, but they're going to be smart about it and buy it through Steam. Well, Microsoft not only is not directly getting that revenue, they're losing about a third of it due to Steam's cut. So you can see why they'd want to make this choice. Well, now what's the appeal of a PC Xbox if we can't have Steam on it? What, the Epic Game Store and GOG? Those aren't big enough to drive that, I don't think.
Well, I want to get into this. I know you're trying to do a really good segue, and I think it was absolutely brilliant, but I got to pump the brakes on that because I have to put a tinfoil hat on about the original thing. Before I put that tinfoil hat on, I do want to point out, though, you don't need a $2,000 PC. Nobody does. You just don't anymore. And that's, even IGN, the fucking sellouts of sellouts, did an article recently about how you don't need a super expensive PC to run the games. You don't. My PC is 6 years now? I'm going on 6 years with my PC. It runs everything. One of the most popular games in the world, Windrose, right now, runs just fine. So, I think that, you don't need that, and I think people are getting smart enough to realize you don't need that. But before we go down that road, I want to come back. I want to put my tinfoil hat on. I truly, after this whole 15% announcement, I truly believe that Microsoft intentionally sabotaged the game companies that they've been purchasing over the last 6 or 7 years. I think, and if you look back to all the reports of Microsoft buys a company, the company comes in, then their first game goes out, it's not that good, and then there's rumblings that something came from Microsoft. I mean, Redfall is a huge thing.
Yeah, that was
they
the one
didn't
that
want to release the
mind.
game. They
Yep.
didn't want to release the game. Microsoft was, you have to release the game. They released the game, then Microsoft closed the studio down. I think that every one of these games, if you look at them with the rare exceptions like Grounded 1 and Grounded 2, the rare exceptions that were full on hits, every one of them is a fucking failure. And there's always at least one person pointing fingers at Microsoft. I think personally, this was always the plan. I think we are going to buy up these companies. And if you look at some of the emails from the lawsuits where they're talking about we can outspend, outpurchase, these other companies. I think personally the plan was we're going to buy every company. Then we're going to purposely release shitty games because we have the money to stay afloat. And then we will have the IPs, we'll fire the people, and we will control the IPs and where they go and how they go out the door. Mm-hmm. That is what I have believed for a little time. And after this 15% person layoff thing coming down the pipe, and Phil Spencer leaving, like, I feel like this is it. Like, this was always the main goal, was we're going to kill Obsidian, not make them flourish. We're going to kill fucking Arcane, not let them flourish. Like, that was always the plan, was to kill them and eat their IP.
I can see a little bit of that. I would say I don't know how much of the actions that they took were just greedy company being greedy company, because some of it is for sure. But, you know, you got to take a look too at something like because you brought it up, Redfall. Redfall was one of those games that was so hyped, and from what was presented to us, all this promise, and then the game comes out, and we know we played it start to finish somehow.
One of my favorite series I've ever done.
Oh, it was hilarious. I mean, it was hilarious.
Also, one of my most hated series I've ever done.
Yeah. I mean, sidebar, the reason I love that game is the same reason I love Sonic 06. It's the same exact thing. But, yeah, at the end of the day, you know, if this is what was in the cards, sure, great, wonderful, fantastic. You know, you don't have to sneak around and make it seem like, well, we're going to justify it in this way and that way and everything like that. Because what would be the purpose of doing that other than purely to save face? Because that's a lot of hoops to jump through. But at the same time, you know, all of these companies now have an image issue. So they very well could have done it purely just because of they wanted it's all messaging presentation. When you say, well, you know, yeah, we're doing this bad thing, but we're giving you a good thing in response to it. Sure. You know, on its face, it sounds good because all we people, for the most part, are like, oh, well, that's good thing. That's good thing. We like good thing. I will take good thing, please. And not really necessarily fully consider what it took to get good thing.
I don't think Phil Spencer ever wants to look like a bad guy. I don't. I think he always wants to look like our friend. And he would much rather say, oh, that was the company's fault, not ours. Even though they didn't have problems till you bought them. You know what I mean? Arcane didn't have problems till they were purchased. Fucking Obsidian did not have problems till they were purchased. You know, like these companies these companies don't have problems till they're purchased. I feel like they would much rather be like, all right, now kill the company and then we'll take it. I would not be surprised if we don't see a Dishonored game come out at some point in the nearest future made by a different internal Microsoft studio. Because the other thing is, if you see, the game that is coming out is never a game that's like synonymous with the company, the game that kills them, you know? Like, if you look at like Redfall was specifically not a Dishonored game. Because it's like, make sure that whatever game kills them, like they probably we want to make Dishonored 3, right? And then Microsoft, no, we need like a looter shooter thing. So they went to work on a looter shooter and it got killed. Like, I think it's really, really fucking coincidental, like too coincidental that this has happened so many times with so many companies.
Yeah, and just to quickly jump in here too, I really do wonder how much of this is really being led by like who is in charge at Microsoft and who, like, if it was like a Phil Spencer thing. Because remember, Phil was apparently, all the articles that we're seeing this was kind of already in the cards for Phil Spencer anyways, but the timetable just kind of got moved up. I wonder if Microsoft from on high was like, hey man, let's just do this amicably. You say you're getting ready to go. We don't want to shit can you. Why don't you just start now? Why don't you just start the vacation now, man? Like, let's get it all lined up to where you don't have to worry about it anymore. And they gave him that the quick nudge, you know, to keep going on, and said, Asha Sharma, like, let's go. You're up. Make those changes.
Yeah, I don't think Phil decided to go. I really don't. I don't think that Phil would be gone for another 5 years if it was up to Phil. That being said, yeah, I think it's really, really weird how all this went down. If you want to move to the fucking PC part of this and Helix, we can. No one needs this. No one needs this console. No one needs this system. Like, anybody, like, here's what bothers me even more about this is, like, they want to charge $1,200 and say that it has the power of a $2,000 PC. You can buy a pre-built PC for less than $1,200 that I assure you will play everything that you want to play. Like, I think that, like, we're in a, like, there's a huge uphill battle for this, in my opinion, of them trying to convince us that this is worth it for us to buy. Because it's just not. It's not even in the ballpark of worth it. And I don't see how that changes. I know I've said this probably before on this channel. Probably. But I'm going to say it again. And maybe I turn out wrong. I don't feel like the people want this. From what I look at and what I see, I don't see anybody going, God, I can't wait for Project Helix to come out. Like, I feel like there was more hype for the Steam machine than this. I don't think anybody wants this. And if nobody wants this, what are we doing? What are we doing in the first place?
Yeah, kind of the same sentiments. But when you take a look at it, I even go back to this current generation. We've done news articles before that the PS5 has been outselling the Series X 2-1 for a while. And then we have the price increases on the consoles, which made Microsoft consoles fall off of a freaking cliff. Like, already badly enough as it is. They still had the gall to release a Series X 2 terabyte digital edition that's like $900 anyways. So by that logic, if they're $1,200, $300 to $400 more, the Series X is going to have, or the Helix is going to have that much more performance over a Series X. That doesn't make sense to me. When you take a look, the appeal of the Steam machine and even the Project Helix, the appeal of that was going to be a 2-in-1 console. The Steam machine is it's a Steam Deck on steroids, effectively. You don't have the games at Microsoft, and they're reevaluating now. Microsoft's even, we skipped over this one. Microsoft is reevaluating their exclusivity.
Yeah.
They're already talking about, like, there's going to be some things that are not going to be across the board on those platforms at all, or they may potentially just completely reverse course on everything from this point on. Is going to be, if it's going to be Microsoft first party, they're going to put it on that console, which truly, objectively, is the only move that they really have to try to sell those consoles, because otherwise, why? That's the big question. The only thing that was making me ever consider that Project Helix was the Steam storefront. If the Steam storefront is not on there, dude, I don't care. I can build my own baby PC Steam machine situation for $900-ish and have very decent specs, and it'll be my own thing that I can upgrade in the future too if I wanted to,
right,
and do what I want to do with it, instead of, oh, well, it's a Microsoft console that plays Microsoft games and maybe like GOG or something like that.
Well, and if that was their move, if the move is we're blocking Steam Store, but all Microsoft games from here on out aren't even going to be on the Steam Store. They're only going to be on, Game Pass or Microsoft Storefront, period. Then they really should have made better games, because they haven't. Like, that's the problem. Like, you've set us up for the last 5 years to have shitty games. I don't need Forza Horizon that bad. And honestly, even racers don't need Forza Horizon that bad. And that's really the only thing that you have put out there that's quality. There's some things in the chamber, but those things are in the chamber that we should be fully excited for, like Fable. We're still lingering about and worried about because of all of Microsoft's failures in the past. So, like, what are, like you've set yourself up for failure across the board. So you're either giving money to Steam with this thing, or you're just losing money. The other thing is, I want to say this definitively, and I don't think that PlayStation is necessarily better than them, but Xbox does not make good consoles. I'm going to say it. Hot take maybe, the consoles aren't good. They've never been good. They have had some innovative features, and some features that really pulled people in and maybe pulled them away from PlayStation. But the PlayStation 2 is still far superior to anything that Xbox has come up with. Like, period. I don't care what anybody says. I think the original Xbox was fine, but a lot of people liked it for Halo. I think the Xbox 360 was probably their best system, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But I think that the reason the Xbox 360 took off was not because of its operating system or how well the system performed. It's because they had an affordable cash level on it, and they also had the very robust internet. The very robust, what did they call it back then? The Xbox Live. They had the very robust Xbox Live. PlayStation did not. They had internet. It was terrible. It was spotty. None of their games were really designed to do that. So that was a problem. So if you really wanted the internet game, you had to go with Xbox Live. But you also had that affordable tier with the arcade version. That was why 360 was successful. 360 was not a better fucking system. I don't like PlayStation 3. I didn't like PlayStation 4. I certainly don't like the aesthetic nightmare that is a PlayStation 5. I've talked about it repeatedly. But I don't think Microsoft is doing any better than that. Like, their systems suck. Like, they have routinely failed console launches. Like I said, the only console launch they were successful in is the 360. And that's facts. Even the original one was not a successful launch. The only reason it survived was because Halo came out. But Halo didn't come out at launch with the original one, I don't think. I think it was like a month after, when they were already kind of dying. The 360 itself was the only time they had a truly successful launch. Whereas you have PlayStation 1, successful launch. PlayStation 2, successful launch. PlayStation 3, yeah, successful launch, not quite as good as the 360, but like, what are we doing here? Why are you still making consoles? Why has Sony gone completely dark on the mention of a PlayStation 6 while you're still out there bragging about a console that can't possibly go well for you? Like, Microsoft has no credit here, and that's my big problem here. Good or bad, whether you like Microsoft company as a whole or not, their track record with console launches is terrible. Their exclusive games track record is terrible. And if they're going to cut Steam off, those are the only two things they can be advertising.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I feel like we have this hubris that's developed, and we've talked about this before, because I was actually having a conversation with a guy that I work with too. You know, every single generation has been a back and forth as to between Microsoft and PlayStation as to who's the one that's winning all of this stuff. Well, we now have PlayStation, who basically has been in charge for 2 generations in a row now with the PS4 and PS5. They, it seems like, are at least, like you said, going dark on the mentions of the PS6 because it's just not the right time to be talking about something like that. Now, this could all go out the window in June, and Sony can have their state of play for the Summer Fuck Fest, and they're like, here's the PS6, guys. Which I also would not be surprised at that. But I'd like to think right now that they have the wherewithal to know that this is not the time to be talking about this sort of stuff. Yet we still have Microsoft over here, like raising prices on things. Okay, we'll cut them back down a little bit, I guess, ... But hey, scream from the rooftops. Just so you guys know, you're probably not going to be able to afford this console that's coming out because it's going to be super duper expensive.
Right. Like, how many strikes do you have to start against you before you even step up to the plate? And that's what we're talking. So we might not have Steam. We might be $1,200. You don't have any good exclusive games. Like, what are you doing? You don't even have the title of the system yet. It's Project Helix. That's a working title. We don't even have the name of the system, and we're already in the shitter with that.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, you've got to look to it, like how Microsoft has been really striking out with the past few generations too.
That's what I've been saying.
Even the Xbox One generation started terribly. They had to do so much damage control at the beginning of that with the Kinect and the always online ability and everything like that. And the one dude basically saying like, "Oh, if you don't have internet, we have a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360. Go fuck yourself." Then we have our Xbox Series X/S. That's a dual thing that they said this is what it's going to be moving forward. And it's going to be parity on everything, but they're going to paint themselves into a corner because they got to make it work on the S and the X at the same time. But oh, by the way, we're cutting the prices up on all of these consoles and everybody hates it and they're already not selling. And oh, by the way, our new one that we don't even have games for is going to be even more expensive. So pucker your buttholes for that. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. And what's the bridge too far? Because at some point, people are not going to chip in for this. And I feel like we're there, like, I don't think, not even going into politics, the person, like the American people's purse strings right now has never been so tight and so stressed. And you want us to spend more money than we have ever spent on a luxury item. I'm going to tell you right now, that money would feed my family for 3 weeks. It's not going to you,
Right.
All right. I don't know. I feel like we've covered this. I think we're just going to keep getting angrier if we don't move on. So you want to move on to news?
Yeah, to even more weird rage-inducing things.
Full neggy today, babe. Full negative. Full negative.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to our final segment, the news. Neil collects smaller news stories. We don't necessarily use it as a talking point, but we want to tell you guys about them. We want to riff about them. Neil, how many you got? What are we starting with?
Well, we got 4 of them here today, and one of them I'll just kind of segue off into because it's a little bit of an accentuation of the conversation that we just had.
Okay.
So there is a YouTube channel called Techie Talk. The individual on that channel actually got a Steam controller early and broke the review embargo. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. The Steam controller is going to cost $100.
Holy shit.
Because it's got touch pads in it and everything. Right. And given the fact that the controller is going to cost $100, it is reigniting conversation about the actual Steam machine itself. There's a lot of folks now who are saying that there is no way that this console is anything less than $1,200. I would kind of echo that to some degree. I would say maybe $1,000. I would see it closer. I would see an MSRP of $999.99 personally. But even that is wishful thinking nowadays at this here point in time.
I think it's going to be $899. That's what I think. And I think that the reason they have decided to wait is they want to see the announcement of Project Helix. Because they were originally, here's my tinfoil hat. I think I mentioned this on a podcast before with you. I think their plan was always to undercut, right? It was always to undercut the other two consoles. I think they were going to be $500. I've talked about that. I think that when they started making this, there was not a huge RAM shortage and then a huge memory shortage. The RAM shortage had just started, and they probably figured it was going to be over like the chip shortage ended. I think that they put that trailer out and then realized that they couldn't do it. And there is a warehouse of these fucking things. And they decided, how are we going to do this? Because we would have to sell this thing for way higher than what the consoles are now. And they're like, okay, we wait until the other two people announce their console prices and then undercut them on that one and pretend that the Steam machine was made for that console to undercut that console, not this console. That's what I think the plan is. I mean, and if you look at the fact that Xbox and PlayStation have already raised their prices regularly for the systems that are already out, I think that's very possible if they put the Steam machine more on par with what those systems are, but kind of market it as a next generation PC system and undercut Project Helix and the PlayStation 6. That's what I think the plan is now.
So, in regard to that, my thought is kind of that I think that they will probably start at a higher price point. They'll get those folks who are going to jump in on it all the way, because there are some, much like there are Nintendo fanboys out there are also Steam fanboys out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Not very many of them, but there are. Oh. I think what they're going to do is they're going to launch it. Yeah, they're going to launch it at a higher price for those that are just going to buy it no matter what. And then they will do what nobody's done this generation and cut price on hardware, because remember, Steam this generation is the only one who cut the price on Steam Decks. Yeah. So I think that that's built into their plans. I think maybe the plan is to eventually get the price down, because they don't do those hardware revisions very often. Mm-hmm. They know that this is going to come to an end, and the only upgrade that Steam's done to the Steam Deck is the OLED. They really didn't change a whole heck of a lot under the hood when you went with that. And the Steam Deck is what, 5-6 years now old, something like that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that tracks, because this chip shortage and the RAM shortage and everything like that is not going to last forever. It's going to last at least a year or two from now for sure, but it's not going to last forever.
No, it won't. I think you might be right. I think no matter what, they need to make sure they're $200 cheaper than the other two, even at launch.
Oh yeah,
like if they want to lower it later, that's fine, but they've got to be $200 cheaper than whatever the other two guys announce at.
Yeah,
personally.
So moving on here, 343 is apparently pivoting their Battle Royale Halo game that we've talked about ad nauseum for years now. At this point, we've seen no official announcement of, to take a guess, an extraction shooter. Yay! The trend chasing continues. They've been chasing that trend so long, the trend has moved on to something else, and they're now turning the trend into something else. Why are we doing this? I really hope that this is all just fake and not like an actual game, because this is probably the dumbest thing ever. We have seen time and time again that trend chasing does not work very well. I mean, shit, did you see Imagine Dragons has a hero shooter, or an extraction shooter rather? Yeah. And it is just tanking, because one, was not on my bingo card, first off. But second, it's an oversaturated market. Halo is not as strong as it used to be as a brand. You cannot lean on that as a way to bring people in. They are burnt out or are maxed out.
I agree with everything you said. I think that something these companies need to start looking at is games as service games maintain player base for extremely long periods of time. Like, they want to break in this market because they want to get the money that like Arc Raiders is making, or some other extraction shooter. They see that and they see dollar signs and they want to get it. Same with the hero shooter stuff and Overwatch. The problem is unless you can take a significant portion of that market away, it is a waste of time. When you're making a narrative game, and I've said this a million times in this podcast, I'm sorry to reiterate it, but that's where we're at right now. If you're making a narrative game, or even just a multiplayer game that has like a story or a point or some sort of end, people play that game, they eventually get bored of that game, and then they move on to the next game, which allows the cycle to continue. That's how that works. Maybe they come back to it when you release some DLC for it, and you get a little bit more money out of them that way. when you do an extraction shooter, or you do a battle royale, or you do a hero shooter, or any of these games, the people who are playing those games have been lifelong players, have been playing the game since day one. Like you're trying to take market share away. It is not like, hey, they're going to play this game and move on. It's not like selling movie tickets. These are games that those people have to play every day to get their dailies, to get their weeklies, to get the points they need, to get the next thing. And I know because I've played these games. I don't play it anymore, and I'm getting itchy because of it, because Ubisoft is such a terrible company. But For Honor was always my go-to. We've talked about it many times. For Honor has dailies and weeklies and stuff that you have to go in, and you've got to get those every day so that you can get your steel, so that you can buy your characters and your finishing moves and stuff. You invest in these experiences, not just your money, but your time, your extended time. And like, you have to convince somebody who already has to spend 2 to 3 hours grinding in this other game every day to somehow decide that even though I've been doing that every day, I have to pass up that for this new thing that comes out. There's only so many of these that can exist in the ecosystem at any one time. And that's a bummer, because there are ones that I liked that just didn't take enough market share away and got folded. I don't understand why we keep chasing these. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand how Marathon still exists. Like, I don't understand how any of these companies are taking anything away from anybody else at this point. Not to mention the fact people are getting smarter about the fact that they lose these games. There is a day in the future when those games shut down and you can never play them again. Upstairs, I have a copy of Anthem. I have a physical fucking copy of a game I can never play. I can never try to play it. I can't put it in any system and play it. I spent $60 on that, and it is literally a plastic paperweight that doesn't even do a good job of that. Like, that is infuriating to me that we can't play that game, that there isn't a server for that, or there isn't a place to play that. And people are seeing that with these games, that like, the person who's playing, who's putting time in to, say, Valorant, is not going to be like, for multiple reasons, because they know that if too many of them go over to this new game, this game will shut down. Like, faster than your head will spin, because they only stay open if there's player base. And I tell you what, I know I bought Arc Raiders as an impulse purchase because the price was low, but I don't want to spend money on stuff like that. Like actual physical money, even $40. I don't want to spend $40 in a game that could not exist in 3 days, you know?
Yeah, and at this point, you know, I was just kind of thinking about it too. Like, we know that this is what happens, and the companies know that this is what happens.
Right.
So at this point, it's one of two things: it's stupidity or hubris. They either are like, "Yeah, well, we'll just do it anyways," or they have it in their minds that their game is going to be better than anything else that is out there. I would love to have that level of confidence in all things in my entire life, because we know that that's not how that works. These games have to come out and prove themselves, and they have to prove themselves. The proof is getting harder and harder constantly. Constantly, it's getting more and more difficult, because we're seeing this now with all of these hero shooters and everything like that that are just dying the second that they come out. You know, we've had in the past, you know, not too long here, we've had Concord and we've had High Guard completely shut down.
Yep.
Less than a year that they were active, they're completely shut down. For shit's sake, Concord only lasted like 2 weeks. High Guard lasted like a month, and that's what we were all thinking with Marathon. The fact that Marathon is even still sticking around right now is hilarious.
Surprising.
It must be do or die for them over there at Sony, because I can't see any other reason that this would keep happening.
I don't even think it's people thinking that their game is better than anybody's. I think it's literally dumb numbers guys who don't understand video games, don't really understand the space, looking at a spreadsheet of how much money X game makes and going, I want that money. That's the money I want.
That's the
not
money I want,
realizing that to get that money, you have to literally, that game has to not exist, you know? And like, I don't know. It's just, it's stupid at this point. And I'm a guy who likes games as service, but we're at a point where it's dumb. It's dumb to do this. Plus, I can't willingly contribute to games as service anymore because I'm so sick of watching them die. I don't play Skull and Bones right now because I think Skull and Bones is dead in a year. They indefinitely canceled probably their biggest, most hyped update ever, which is the sword fight update where you could actually sword fight as a captain. So to me, that spells the fucking end of them. Like, I can't see them sticking around. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of spending money on games that I can't play. I can't show my kid. I can't give to my kid when I'm gone. Like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of spending that much money on those things, you know?
Oh, I get it. I get it 100%. That's why I was actually having a conversation with a guy at work. He was talking to, because he loves those sorts of live service games and everything. And he is all in not Destiny, Marathon right now.
Okay.
And I was like, I mean, fine. And he's, on and on and on about it. And he's told me some stuff about the game. I'm like, okay, it sounds cool, but I'm never, ever going to consider that game until it's at least around for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not going to spend the money on something that's going to get shit canned. I'm just not going to do it. And I've seen this happen before.
That's the thing, too. These companies don't give them over for privatized servering or give out the codes or anything. Like, these companies kill these games when they're dead. And honestly, when I started with the whole games of service, when I started with this, there weren't that many games that were getting killed, Now games are actually getting killed. Like, we're seeing them getting killed to the point where we see petitions go up to stop killing games. We've got fucking class action lawsuits to stop killing games. Like the fact that they can do that, I don't want to participate in it,
And just to quickly cap this off really quick here, I mean, there is some movement on like the stop killing games front. This is like a little sidebar, but because you brought it up,
yeah, sure.
The crew is actually going to be getting an update with an offline mode. So their hands are starting to get forced with some of this stuff in the European Union. Of course, we can't do it here for some reason, but they're going to start getting those sorts of things. There's movement on those. So there may be a future where games do have an end of life plan to where when we get them in development, okay, this game is going to live for this many years. We expect it to live for this many years, but we can change it based on that. But depending on what we decide to do the change to be, you still don't you still have there's still a contingency plan. You're not losing anything. You're not going to be out anything.
They should just allow privatized servering. Like they when they kill a game, they should be like, we're killing this game. It is now legally allowed for other people to make private servers of this game on their own. Like, here's the game code. You can host games on your servers. And then, because I'm telling you right now, there are games like that have survived, like City of Heroes. You can still play City of Heroes.
Yeah, I forgot about
through
that.
Steam.
Jesus.
It's not, like, I don't even think the company that made it is still around. But they allowed the game code to go out there, and players themselves just made their own servers. Do that. Do that with these games. Like, that would fix everything. Like, hey, and then if people really don't want it around, it won't be around, But, like, I don't know. It's frustrating. Go ahead and move on.
All right, 2 more left.
Okay.
So, Nintendo, we talked about not too long ago, they are going through and suing the U.S. government for repayment of tariffs. Now that portal is up, they're requesting the tariff refunds. Well, Nintendo is now being sued by 2 fans who bought Switch 2 consoles for reimbursement. Their argument is that if Nintendo recovers the tariff money from the government, they will have double dipped because the people who bought the console already got them the money.
Are paying the tariffs, right?
So either one of 2 things happens. Either they do not get the tariff reimbursement, or if they do, that has to go back to
the players,
the people who bought the Switch 2. Apparently Nintendo was reached out to for comment. Obviously they did not respond. But I will be very curious to see where this goes moving
That
forward.
is a really good fucking point. You know, I don't like
is.
the tariffs. I don't like what it's doing for us. Aside from politics, I don't want to go down that road. But when you talked about this news story, I was like, good for Nintendo. But these fans are right, man. Nintendo put the cost on us. So we should be the ones getting the money back, not them. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So last one here. So this is going to be fun for me to kind of go through really quickly again, and you will have to bear with me for a second because I remember reading the article and not comprehending it fully. So I literally just copied the article and pasted it in my notes and said, this is long and confusing. So basically, GameStop is going through, yeah, this is a GameStop one. GameStop is going to be selling digital power packs of Pokemon cards. So what this is these are randomized packs of digital versions of actual trading cards. So you can go through and buy a pack of these cards. You can buy a pack of these cards here. The cheapest pack is $25 and the rarest pack is $2,500, but there's no guarantees that you're going to get a good card. It's just improving the chances of you getting a good card. Kind of like the system that they had for trophies in Smash Brothers Melee, to where if you added more of those little digital coins, you had a chance to get a trophy that you didn't have in the game already. However, you have options. You can sell the digital cards that you do not have to other people who want the digital cards, so you can transfer the digital card to somebody else that they do not own, that they can pay you money for. Or, boy howdy, does GameStop have a deal for you? You can turn around and sell it back to them for 90% of its actual value, and they'll just resell it to another pleb in the digital card pack. What in the actual shit?
I'm pretty sure this is a pyramid scheme.
To be fair, you can request the physical card that you did get, and they are, in some cases, depending on rarity, actually graded. So there is actually some sort of value prospect to this, but it is so overly complicated and convoluted. And you have to know that if you spend that $2,500 on one of those card packs, it's almost guaranteed that you only have like maybe a 20% chance of getting anything that's even going to be worth $2,500. And you still have to sell it back to somebody else for at least $2,500 or more to make a profit, because you cannot turn around and sell it back to GameStop because they're only going to give you 90% of its value. Why? What? It's literally like like you said, it's like a Ponzi scheme. I was
about to say, I'm 90% sure this is a pyramid scheme.
It's a straight up scam.
Right.
So you can go and pay the money and get these cards, and then you can turn around and sell those cards online for somebody else to have the digital card. It's like a speculative market. Like, you're going to buy it in hopes that it's going to go up. But the added layer of this, like, it makes sense kind of for like physical trading cards, because sidebar to this, I found out recently how much One Piece trading cards are going for.
They're very expensive.
They're extremely expensive. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll pick up a booster pack here and there just to see what I can come up with, because I had a guy I used to work with who actually traded them like extensive. Like, he showed me his like pictures of stuff in his collections and showed me the valuations. Some cards individually are worth thousands of dollars. You cannot even find these cards in stores. They're so popular at this point. You can get them on Amazon in like flats at a time, but they're like hundreds of dollars. and that's just a chance to get anything. It's all a speculative market that you're buying, but it's an added layer of shittery that it is all digital, that you can turn around and sell it to somebody else in the digital version of it. Sure, you can go ahead and request the physical card that you got, but then you got to pay for shipping and everything like that. And you have to get it, and then you have to turn around and hike it around to whoever that's going to pay for it. And you got to make money on it, or else you're wasting your time. I don't get it. And I don't know why GameStop is the one that's doing this.
Well, I mean, GameStop is known for scams. Plus, the fact is that GameStop will be making money hand over fist about this. You would spend, you spend X amount of dollars to get the pack. You get maybe one card out of it that you want to keep. So you immediately sell all the other cards back to GameStop, but you only get 90% of the value. So you're not even getting the full cost of the pack back. And then they're taking those cards and selling them for 100% of the value somewhere else. Or like, you see what I'm saying? Like it is like they're just looping money to themselves at this point.
Yeah.
It's insane. That's insane.
It's ridiculous.
That's insane.
And this is how the company stays afloat, apparently. It pays itself with other people's money.
Oh my God. That's okay. Okay. I cannot believe that is legal. Like,
I'm gonna in the in between here, I'm gonna send you the physical article so like you can read through it yourself. Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
Like that to me, that sounds like what you're describing is a pyramid scheme. Like I can't think of a way it's not.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is. It's like a pyramid scheme mixed with NFTs. It's weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's your last article.
That is the last one.
We're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, and then we're going to do plugs and go to sleep.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the show and the shameless self-promotion that comes with it. Neil, would you like to plug anything?
Yeah, so we actually did manage to get another episode of Ordo, and you know what? It's that I love this last recording that we did, just because like if any of you out there follow like tabletop gaming and stuff like that, I am always a fan of when somebody is starting to, they have their knee-jerk reaction of what they would do, but they have to stop themselves and consider what their character is actually going to do. I've really been feeling that a lot lately with Elliot, the character that I'm playing in that game. But yeah, we're having a great old time, and it sounds like we're getting pretty close to the end of this hunt here. So it sounds like pretty soon this will be able to start popping out.
Yeah, I'm not ready to say a definitive release date yet, but I would have to say probably by June we will have it finished and it will have started. I think I am really enjoying it as a game master. I think you guys are great players. It's a lot of fun to do. I don't think I've been really thinking about it. I know you guys are about to go to the final battle. I just feel like if I don't do 2 sessions, we're going to get into that place where I have to do an in-between session again, like we did before. So I feel like almost we're going to get there, and I'm going to have to purposely cut it before the battle is resolved, and then come back, resolve the battle, and go into the epilogue, because there's just so much to talk about after the hunt is done, from just what has happened.
Even where we are right now, I'm very curious to see how everything is going to loop together, because there's a lot of unity, I guess, happening right now. Is the lightest way to put it.
Yes. And I'm really interested to see you guys' reaction to some of the lore that I'm going to do. But we're getting off on a tangent, and they haven't even seen it. Yes, that will be coming out probably around June. I think after Neil and Kayla get back from their vacation, we will be looking to potentially set some dates to record some more BG3L3, which I am very much looking forward to. Maybe even some Streets of Retro, get that going again.
Yes.
And yeah. Other than that, for the channel, I'm not doing a ton right now because, like I said, we're recording a lot for release. I did do the Windrose Snap Judgment review. You guys can check that out. Stay to the end and watch me get spawn camped by one pig for I don't know, like 9 minutes straight. It kills me over and over again. It's a lot of fun.
I watched it. It's funny.
It is funny, isn't it? Yeah, I think,
and infuriating for you, by the way, because that would drive me insane to no end.
Dude, I think I want to release another video on Windrose and just go a little bit more deeper into some of the negatives I have for it. I just don't want to like get on the bad side of the internet again. Like, because like there's an overarching thing that I like about Windrose, like the boarding and the fighting and the naval combat, but like the world sucks. There's nothing there. There's no like you look at Skull and Bones, like as crappy as Skull and Bones is, there are fisherman boats patrolling the coast. There's all these factions. They each have their own language and their own materials they sell and their own ports. Like there is a world there, a living, breathing world. It is brought down heavily by stupid microtransaction bullshit and Ubisoft crap, but there is this living world there. With Windrose, everybody in the world is a pirate. What is the point of being a pirate if everybody's a pirate? There's literally like 4 factions. They're all pirates. And then there's the bad guys, which are pirates. So what are we doing here? Like, I can't like align with the Dutch. There's no merchant boats to like raid. It's just pirates versus pirates. Like, what the fuck? Like, the crafting system's good. The naval combat's good. The combat's good. As a pirate lover, like playing it feels good for a pirate fan, but when you get into the lore of it, you're like, I'm just shooting other pirates. Just pirates shooting other pirates. Where are all the people? Where all the people be?
It's for a second there, I thought you were talking about One Piece.
One Piece isn't pirates. Hot take. One Piece isn't pirates.
That's
is
fair.
bullshit.
No, they're just superheroes with boats.
Dragon Ball Z on boats. Fuck that shit. Okay. All right. Now that I've made the entire internet mad.
So.
Now that I've made the entire internet mad, we will go. You guys can reach us on Discord. Influence all of our shows from there. Comment below. We'll read them out on the next show. Next week, we will probably be off. Unless I decide to do like an impromptu episode, but I probably won't, so we'll probably be off for 1 week because Neil is taking a much-deserved vacation. Enjoy your vacation, Neil.
I'm going to get to go through the desert in a dune buggy. Yeah, it's going to be great.
That does sound fun. That's some Mad Max stuff right there.
Hell yeah.
Witness me! All right, you guys keep watching and listen. We'll keep making them. We'll see you guys next time.